it only made it all the more amazing. I guess that's the only way to put it. So they have this guy on, and you can just tell. You can tell the British guy doesn't really understand what ESPN's all about or what ESPN radio is all about. And you can just tell by the questions that the guys were sort of sitting there going, really? Is this for real? And he's sort of answering them, in a, like he's actually being interviewed by your standard wacko leftist liberal media types. Like, oh, this is just so insightful. You wanted to live as a goat. Honestly, folks, I can't even... I mean, the prosthetic limbs, learning to eat grass with his mouth, having a second stomach made filled with the digestive juices of goats so he could spit the grass into that and then drink the results. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's what I'm listening to. Now, I will leave this world firmly believing that anyone who does that is insane. I cannot, I will not adapt to a culture that goes, wow, that's really interesting. What insights you could gain from that? No, that's insane. I have no respect for a person like that. None. I cannot have respect for such a deluded, mentally ill individual. I can have some sympathy, except he's making money off of this. He's written a book. I think, what's it called? Take vacation, something about a vacation from being human or something. And you can just tell, even the guys at ESPN, and look, ESPN, by the way, ESPN, stop shoving your progressive idiocy down my throat, okay? I am so sick of ESPN's socialism. I don't even know which ends up. But anyway, so I'm listening to this, and it absolutely dovetails with this article from 2012 and what happened in that gorilla pit. Because I dared mention something. I had some just... I don't even know how to describe the two women that came after me last night on Twitter. Just singing the praises of utter human autonomy. Bodily autonomy. That's why it's a good thing. Abortion's a good thing because it affirms my bodily autonomy. I have to keep reminding myself that person will stand in the presence of a holy God and answer for that perversity. And the resultant punishment, I don't even want to imagine. So, you had that going on. And it was just those two women so totally robbed of womanhood, of everything that's good and beautiful and right about being a mother and being a woman and nurturing and all this, devoid of it. Why? Because they have been dehumanized. All of this goes back to the same thing. If you don't have the creator of the humans, you no longer have humans. All you have are accidental animals. That's all you have. You can pretend that secularism will give you some type of a foundation to come up with some kind of meaning and basis for human life having some kind of transcendent meaning, but there is nothing that's transcendent. It can't have transcendent meaning. And so last night, I'm following some of the threads about this gorilla. And the virulent, vitriolic, vicious, I'm coming up with all the V's here, responses that thoroughly secularized Westerners, primarily young women, were posting about how, since that gorilla is one of a vanishing species, and that 4-year-old kid, there's billions of us, that clearly the gorilla had much more value than the child did. Much more value. Now, thankfully, the folks at the zoo are still humans. And so it wasn't a difficult call for them. But 20 years from now, when those virulent, vicious, cultic, totally secularized millennials are in charge, that kid's toast. You got to understand, that 450-pound gorilla, if you saw when it went through the water and dragged that kid like a rag doll behind, it's surprising he survived that. He could have broken his neck any second. But a gorilla like that could tear that child into pieces in 2 or 3 seconds. Just could do that to a fully grown male. Fully grown man. They're that powerful. And the point is that for many people, you know, we all sat back and we chuckled at the video a couple months ago where you go onto a college campus and you go, so if I self-identify as an 8-foot-tall Asian female, is that okay with you? Well, sure, if that's how you see. And we laughed. It's like, really? How disconnected from reality are these kids? I mean, for all of us, like, well, they haven't lived in this world very long, have they? And it just doesn't work work that way, But now you see the result. Because there is no creator. Value is only what you assign. There cannot be no objective moral value. There cannot be any shared cultural values. That's why now, whatever the state says becomes